You're listening to Champion Cinema with Chris and Chris.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Champion Cinema. I'm Chris with a Callahan C.
Nice, and I'm Chris with a Killer K, as he is credited.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He is credited as Killer, isn't he?
Yeah, just random.
So, yeah, did a little birthday reviews this week because on the 31st, Mr. Clint Eastwood celebrated his 94th year on this earth.
Nice, hardcore.
And he just finished directing a new movie.
God.
Weirdly as well, weird coincidence. It's a movie called Juror Number 2 and Nicholas Holt's in it, who we were just talking about last week.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. The coincidences and weird links live on.
Definitely.
So yeah, this week we're going to be looking at 1971's Dirty Harry, the granddaddy, and Unforgiven from 1992.
Yeah, it's a cool champion little double bill, I think.
Yeah, it's two good eras, like two good, especially like benchmarks of his career, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think that's the mad thing about it, isn't it? Like both like very different movies, but that appeal to like similar people, but can appeal to a broader audience at the same time. But like you said, they both ushered in like a kind of a new way of doing things and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Like movies like Dances with Wolves and Unforgiven were like responsible for seeing a few more westerns in the 90s compared to the 80s, I would say.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, easily. Yeah.
Champion Cinema.
So Dirty Harry was released in 1971, runs for 1 hour and 42 minutes, directed by Don Siegel. It stars Clint Eastwood as Harry Callahan, Rennie Santoni as Chico Gonzalez, John Vernon as the mayor, Harry Gardino as Captain Bresler, and Andrew Robinson as Scorpio. But what sort of bats?
Yes, Inspector Harry Callahan is a tough, no-nonsense San Francisco police officer, and he's assigned to track down and apprehend a psychopathic sniper known as Scorpio. And Harry, with his unorthodox methods of relentless pursuit, he navigates the moral ambiguities of justice. Confronting the bureaucracy of he's obviously the world that he's in and stuff. But meanwhile, Scorpio's violent rampage escalates, and Harry must take matters into his own hands to stop the killer.
It certainly does. Yeah, when I like over the years, like you come to know that like it's inspired by the Zodiac killer. But it wasn't until I saw Fincher's Zodiac that I like found out that the Harry is based on the real life cop who was hunting the Zodiac killer around the time, named David Toschi. And it's the same guy that was Steve McQueen's character in Bullet's based on as well. Yeah, quite a famous cop at the time.
Kind of mad, isn't it? How America's like crime history can just like quietly inspire like so much pop culture and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably true of a lot of films.
I've never really looked into though until we decided to do the review. Like, who else was considered for Harry? Because it's one of those roles where like you can't imagine anyone else playing that character but Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like obvious names like John Wayne was offered it. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I've seen the Frank Sinatra one, which is mad.
Yeah, I could imagine it though.
Yeah.
He does have a hard face, Frank Sinatra. I could imagine him playing someone like Harry Callahan. Robert Mitchum, that would have been good as well.
Yeah, big scary bastard.
Yeah. Steve McQueen, which is an obvious one.
Yeah.
Burt Lancaster, and my favourite, which I think I wouldn't like to see it instead, but I would like to go to an alternate universe where this exists, George C. Scott.
Yeah, God.
Just a fucking loud Harry Callahan, just fucking shouting at everybody.
But yeah, it's like you said, it's difficult at this point in history to, for it to be anybody but Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, it's one of those characters, isn't it? Yeah, it's an iconic character. Yeah, I mean, you look at it's one of, but probably the. You could class Bullet as well a few years before, but it is the starting point for like the modern action movie and the modern action hero, especially going into the 80s.
Yeah, and it 100% started the whole, no nonsense cop with a gun sort of thing. And I mean, Bronson really wouldn't have had his career resurgence if it wasn't for this movie, probably, because it like opened the door, didn't it, to like a man with a big gun.
Sorting things out his own way.
Yeah, because that's like, I mean, this film super wears that on its chest, really, doesn't it? I mean, I've not looked into the trivia too much, but I'm assuming it's not What's what I'm looking for? Like
Regulation.
well, no, not that. I mean, is it like sponsored or paid for in any way by Magnum creators or
I
something?
thought you were going to say it's not regulation for cops to have 357.
Well, that
Magnums.
too.
44.
I was going to
Magnum.
say, he keeps saying 44, doesn't he,
Yeah,
in the film?
44,
yeah,
yeah.
44 Magnum.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's because it's just right early in the movie. It kind of establishes that he's got a big gun. Mm-hmm. Like, literally holds it to the camera. Like, nowadays, I would be screaming product placement.
Yeah. I always liked how Magnum first starts. It starts like a kung fu movie, but instead of like someone doing kung fu in front of a red background, it's just beauty shots of a 44 Magnum.
And I believe that the sales, like, I did see the trivia that the sales were like massive on 44 Magnums, like,
Of course.
you know, shortly after the movie came out.
Yeah. People are like, oh, it's just kids' films that happens with. No.
No,
It
definitely
also
not.
happens with a certain gun. I'm sure Berettas went up once Lethal Weapon Die Hard came out.
Oh
as well.
yeah. I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. Yeah.
I was going to say as well, like you can see, what the influence Lethal Weapon Shane Black took from this as well. Like 3 main points. It's one of the plots is he gets a new partner, getting the jumper off the roof,
Yeah.
and even his backstory that his wife died in a car accident. I always forget about that, but and go, Jesus, Shane Black was just taking notes.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of them films that has it like bleeds into everything, really, doesn't it?
And I also love as well. I love any movie really, but mainly cop movies set in San Francisco because it's always New York or Chicago or LA. It's nice because San Francisco is such a unique looking city. In America.
Yeah. It's like another character in this movie, really, isn't it? The city, San Francisco.
Yeah.
I do like movies, you know, like Rocky and stuff, where the it's a feature of the movie.
Yeah, the city's a feature,
Yeah.
a character almost.
Yeah, it's really nice that. And I guess like probably, you know, this is one of the reasons why, you know, like, you know, the game Driver, when it's all like speeding down streets and stuff, and it's like big hills and things. It's movies like this that I always accredit like games like that and that feel of like I don't know, just chase movies and chase games and stuff. It like, did this film start that trend maybe, or?
Well, I think isn't Bullet set in San Francisco as well, and that's got that big car chase in it.
Yeah.
It's quite iconic. So yeah.
Just it's like such an influential movie, basically. This
Yeah.
movie. I mean,
Yeah,
as well, like, and obviously, this isn't the first time at all that I've seen this movie. I've seen it quite a lot, but it always surprises me, like the Die Hard sort of stuff as well. You know, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, they're running around with their phone
Simon
booths. Yeah.
Yeah, I always think like, oh, I wonder if it's like kind of there's some, you can probably track that influence to that movie quite easily.
It's one of those movies, I think, as well, that even if people aren't being influenced by it directly, it's almost like through osmosis because some other film that they've saw was influenced by it, then they've been influenced by that because it's just one of those movies that like everyone's picked apart over the years and borrowed things from.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a weirdly sparse film though. Like I don't know if it's just because it's San Francisco, but like there's just lots of times where like no one's around. Do you not think?
Yeah, fun. Yeah, you're all right that like the nighttime scenes and then even the daytime scenes. It's not like maybe they just didn't have budget for extras and
was that just how San Francisco was? Just a bit chiller. I guess that maybe why I was thinking like is that like just how it is? Like was it on purpose because you know you're so used to hustle and bustle of like LA and New York cop movies. And stuff. It just really dawned on us this time. I don't know what I'd watch, but probably just as well, because the last film we reviewed was fucking Fury Road. So anything we watch afterwards is going to seem chill and quiet.
It's like, where's all the noise, the colours? The constant bombardment.
But yeah, and of course, you know, I guess, you know, there'll be other characters that quip one-liners, but I think, like, you know, as far as the 80s action hero and 70s, 90s and stuff, like, this is where it's like, do you feel lucky? And as we'll get like in the later sequels, like Make My Day, like, you know, this is where the guy spouting the one-liners before he shoots you came from, basically.
Yeah, like super influential on like Arnie and stuff, you know, with the one-liners. Like I think without this film, those one-liners wouldn't have been as palatable and stuff because it set up that legacy really of do you feel lucky, punk?
And I love the way that line bookends the movie.
Yeah,
really
it's like the
nice.
whole speech, isn't it? Which again, I almost semi-forget sometimes that it's like. Yeah, he says like the entire bit. Like, does he say that every time?
Maybe.
It's like his thing.
Then of course, but you know, in the opening one, he's gun is empty. In the last one, it's not.
Yeah.
And I love the extra extra anger on the punk on the final version as well. Like he's just had enough of this bastard.
Yeah.
Because fucking hell, let's talk about Andrew Robinson. He's so good in the movie.
Yeah, what a powerhouse. He's a great actor. Great.
He is. He's terrifying, is what he
Yeah.
is. He's great, yeah.
I love that, like, bless him. I've always heard, I know this more than anything from Star Trek, that he's like a massive pacifist. Like, massive, like, he hates violence in any form and stuff. And, like, he always has to be convinced of its worth in order to do something that involves violence in a scene and stuff.
Yeah.
I know in the trivia of this movie that they had to, like, keep stopping and like, they would miss shots because, like, Andrew Robinson was, like, you know, he's pulling faces when he was shooting the guns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, looking like he was proper shitting himself.
Oh, bless him.
But he just comes over so good. Like,
He does.
Really, really creepy, and somebody that you really love to hate.
Yeah, especially the you know, the finale on the bus. That's when he's at his best, like unhinged. Like I don't think, I hate saying this because I don't want to sound like one of those people, but I don't think you'd be able to get away with a scene like that these days in like
It's a bit full on.
a blockbuster action movie. He
Yeah.
just goes up and just smacks that kid in the head.
Yeah. It's the bit in the movie where you your blood goes a little bit cold because
Yeah.
it's like oof, it takes it to 11 at that point where you're like, bloody hell, like, yeah. But you know, I mean, God, he shoots a kid in the face. Don't forget, like, you don't see it obviously on
No.
camera, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it does literally. Is it like got a hole in his head or something? 10-year-old or
Yeah,
something.
10. Yeah, it's their reaction sells it enough. doesn't it,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
When his partner comes over and he's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
So, you know, he's doing horrific things throughout the movie, but
Yeah.
I think it is really at that moment where you think, oh my God,
Yeah.
what a...
Like
yeah.
he doesn't have a limit, basically.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a great foil to like a great character like that. And I think he's, you know, like Clint Eastwood represents like the everyman as well in this movie. You know,
yeah.
like down with bureaucracy and just getting the job done.
Yeah. As you get in the great open scene with the mayor, when he meets the mayor. And he explains his policy for shooting rapists, which is always quite a funny, funny moment. And they're just doing the mayor's like, he's got a point. Which, of course, you know, as we'll get to, like, this is one of those movies that's been parodied and homaged so many times. So whenever it gets to that scene, I just think of the similar speech in Naked Gun when they were performing Macbeth in the park and he shot someone or something.
Yeah, I can't remember the lines of that movie, but you're right. Yeah, he says something like, when I see a perp and yada yada. And he's
See,
like,
when I see a perp chasing a woman with a knife, I shoot the bastard. That's my policy. And they're like, they were performing Macbeth. And of course, you know, the film ends like, it wasn't obviously back then. People didn't go, we're making a franchise. It literally ends with him quitting. He chucks his badge in the river.
Yeah.
And it's quite a sad, like, not sad ending, but it's not a triumphant ending by any means.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I guess the studio was like, no, he doesn't throw his badge away. Like, I'm sure they probably tried. Well, if they'd known how popular this movie was going to be at the time, they probably wouldn't want the movie to like end like that.
No. And then, you know, they didn't care because then they just made a sequel
press
like
on.
two years later and they'd make no mention of him quitting the force.
Yeah, I suppose you can just kind of write it off. It was like the emotions of the time and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, he walked away and he was like, "How am I going to pay me mortgage though?"
He just dived in and got his badge back. They were like, cut that bit out.
But yeah, I'm sure there was no doubt in anyone's mind they were going to do a sequel though. Once the numbers came in.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. And, you know, some people prefer Magnum Force over the original.
Yeah.
It is probably, I don't know. We'll talk about it after. I was going to get into, like, just talk about the sequels. Something we forgot to do the past few shows is, like, with films with sequels, just talk about the sequels a little bit afterwards. So we'll do that.
Seeing that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that afterwards, yeah.
Right.
But, of course, you can't not talk about Lalo Schifrin's Bayraeth score, which is very funky and very 70s and very of the time because, you know, it's right, like, 2 years before Enter the Dragon, so it still has some of that feel that he was going for at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the very 70s thing where, you know, like the comb sound. They're like,
Yeah.
sort of noise. And it's like, oh, that's so 70s.
And once again, like parts of Enter the Dragon score, like sometimes it's like spooky and a bit eerie, especially the female vocals in the background really like make the neck stand up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's an unmistakable sort of sound, like undeniable soundtrack, and like just totally has 70s written throughout it, which is great.
It's funny though because that, you know, like I guess it's like consider it like Scorpion's theme. You know, the ones like do 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 do. Like that's kind of an ape on Immigrant Song, like the Led Zeppelin song, which came out the year before.
Yeah.
And then John Carpenter was influenced by both those songs for Assault on Precinct 13 theme. If you think do 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 do, it's the same rhythm. And then like weirdly from that, the U2 song New Year's Day has the same bass line as Assault on Precinct 13. Isn't that a weird lineage?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a good score. I love that score.
I mean, this film very much has like a day in the life of, or a week in the life of feel anyway, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
I like that the movie just kind of follows Callahan doing stuff at first. You know, there's the murder and stuff, but, you know, he just picks up a partner and then, like, you know, he's having a hot dog at one point and there's just a random bank robbery. And I just love how chill Harry is just eating the hot dog.
Yeah.
And he's like, here's this, will you dial this number and tell him that Inspector Callahan thinks there's like a robbery ongoing. And he's just going to go back to eating his hot dog pretty much.
Yeah.
But then the alarm sounds and he's like, oh, shit.
I'll deal with this myself.
And he's still just munching on the hot dog as he's walking down the street. And it's always like that. Just a little bit of comedy injected there.
I like as well that he basically takes like some shrapnel from a shotgun in his leg and doesn't react till like after it's all over. I like that bit as well. It's a nice bit of tough guy antics. Yeah,
and that's what I mean though. Like, I feel like it's in some ways it's, you know, it's very Hollywood and over the top and stuff. But in some ways, I don't know, it feels kind of like just watching a cop doing his job, or at least a Hollywood version of a cop.
Well, compared to movies nowadays, this looks like a fucking documentary.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's just really nice. He's doing police work and he's trying to like catch the killer and stuff, and it just feels very like, you know. And that I always find it really interesting that the foil Scorpio really early as well. You know, when he's on the rooftop and he's about to like shoot. Is it like well, assumedly like a gay man he's like watching him. It feels like that's what it's hinting at.
Yeah.
In the park scene and stuff. But like, you know, he just gets put off by the helicopter and stuff. And it's like, in some ways, and I suppose this is one of the interesting bits about this movie, in some ways it glorifies police, both good and bad ways. Yeah. But then in some ways it doesn't. Because it's interesting that the movie opens with the dedication.
Yeah, the dedication wall,
Yeah, it's like, it feels very like pro-police.
But then it ends with him saying, "I'm fucking sick of this shit," throwing his badge. Yeah, it's kind of like First Blood, or like this Rambo, like First Blood Part 2, where like it feels very like pro-military, but then it has, you know, Rambo bad mouthing the military and the life after the military and all this. So it's like a mix of both, really. Yeah.
I think the film definitely caught some heat at the time. Like, you know, its critics would say that it glamorized police brutality.
Yeah,
and
I can see why they would think that.
yeah, because, you know, he's like, shoot first, ask questions later, sort of policing, and it's like, is that the best way to be? But, you know, like you said, it does show that, like, you know, that kind of lifestyle isn't great. I think Clint Eastwood, in his way, always tries to show that.
Yeah. Especially with Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I can never remember which sequel. I always think it's the first one, but it must be like one of the sequels when, speaking of hot dogs, where it was a bit like I'd never understood just because of the way I've always ate hot dogs, where he's like, he berates another cop for putting ketchup on a hot dog.
Yeah, I think that's one of the later ones. That's familiar, that though.
Might be Sudden Impact or one of like Deadpool maybe, but yeah, he's like, nobody puts ketchup on a damn hot dog. And I was like, what?
I think my life is a lie.
Yeah.
You're like, well, if fucking Clint says it, I must be eating them wrong.
Not doing it again. Never had ketchup on a hot dog since. The one shot I love though is when he shoots Scorpio in the leg and then over the football field, and then he's got his foot on his leg, and then it just does that huge, obviously like a helicopter shot out of the stadium and into the sky, like into the fog. That's such a nice shot.
Yeah. It's just mad how they like achieved it. Really, I mean, obviously helicopter, but like, it looks so smooth and stuff.
It does.
Yeah, because, you know, now you just do it with a small drone and bang, it would be so easy. But
piece of piss.
Yeah, back then it's like probably a lot harder to achieve.
So what are some major moments, like major highlights for you?
I suppose peak badassery of this movie has to be Clint Eastwood stood on the bridge.
Yeah, I was going to mention that before. That's such a good reveal. Yeah.
Yeah, just the bus coming around the corner and he's just like there, just fucking ready for him. Like, he's had enough.
Yeah. And just see Scorpio's face just screams, "Oh, for fuck's sake."
Yeah. And I love that, obviously, he did the stunt as well, Eastwood. It's pretty hardcore.
It's a pretty hairy stunt.
Yeah, jumping on a bus and stuff. For all, it's not, the bus isn't going like 70 mile an hour or anything.
No, but still, he could just slip and fucking get squished, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And then obviously, kind of rounding the movie off, Scorpio's like ultimate demise, getting blown away.
Yeah. I do love his little psycho laugh right before he dies.
Yeah, and he's all like...
Yeah, he's such a fucking snake.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, it lingers on his body a lot, I guess. Like, the film really wants you to know he's dead. And, like, there you go. The bad guy got his just desserts. But, yeah, he's such a good character actor. I love him, and I love him in Deep Space Nine, Andrew Robinson. I think he really elevated the show and its premises. And there's so many episodes that he's in, Andrew Robinson. Like, I believe he was like not supposed to be in it permanently, and they just loved him so much. And he really like pushed the network. There was hints at him being like, being gay and stuff, which at the time in the 90s was like, such a taboo and stuff. But there's like hints of it there that they could never go fully. But I think Andrew Robinson like always wanted to like explore it a little bit more and stuff, but had his hands tied a little bit.
Yeah, I've never seen any Star Trek he's been in. I know he's in it, obviously, because you've mentioned it before, but I don't think I've ever seen any episodes he's in.
It's literally, whenever it's an episode centred on his character, Garak, it's always like my favourite episodes.
Yeah,
personally. He's just such a great actor. One of them actors, though, that, I don't know, obviously he's massively successful in one way, that he's in like one of the culturally most important films of all time and stuff, but he's not a like household name at the same time, which is a shame as well. But I don't know if it's just because of his look.
He's just one of them hidden gem character actors.
Yeah, and I guess it's difficult to like, you couldn't cast him as the hero necessarily. No, because he has kind of a villainous air about him.
And he's just played too many good villains, like like the last 50 minutes of Hellraiser and stuff. Like, he's terrifying. And once again, he can just turn on sleaze really well.
Yeah. Bless him. But yeah, he's for me, he's the true highlight of the movie. Eastwood's great and stuff, but for me, it's all about him.
But as for sequels, I mean, a couple of years later, was it like 74? He got Magnum Force, maybe.
Yeah.
Magnum Force is a great one as well. It's him against other like another group of cops that are just basically a bunch of dirty Harrys taking law into their own hands, and he has to deal with them. So that was a cool idea, a cool way to go with the character.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all on the motorbikes. Is it motorbike squad?
Yeah, it's the motorbike cops. With David Soul and stuff. Yeah, and then the Enforcer. The Enforcer is the one where like, I don't dislike it, but it's the one I remember. It's the least memorable one, I think. So I think it's just one of those where like, in this one you've got Scorpio, in the second one you've got the cops. In like Sudden Impact you've got like that creepy gang, and then you got like Sandra Locke as kind of a vigilante villain he's got to catch, and then Deadpool is the whole film thing, and Enforcers, from what I remember, is just like a gang. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if the villain doesn't stand out, it's kind of forgettable sometimes.
Yeah, true. Like when I can kind of recall all the central points of those movies, but you're right with Enforcer. I would literally have to look it up. Like, what's the main plot? It's like memorable because like he's got like Tyne Daly from Cagney and Lacey as his partner in that one. He's like stuck with like a female partner, so there's some good banter there between them two and stuff. But yeah, it is a good series. Like Deadpool isn't like it's fine. Deadpool. I think it's just because it kind of has that air because it was like the later one, and like there's a big gap between sequels. But I think Magnum Force and Sudden Impact are my two favourites. It does catch a lot of heat, Deadpool, but I always enjoyed it. I think it was the first one I saw as a kid, to be honest.
It was the first one I was aware of, I think, as a kid. 'Cause I remember when it came out.
Yeah.
It's one of those films. I was just at that age where I was like starting to pay attention to like video shop posters and names and shit like that. So yeah. And I always remember the bit with the car, the remote control car and stuff.
Well, I think that's it. It randomly appeals to kids, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Just by default with the remote control killer.
Just be like, I'd love a remote control car I could kill people with.
Total dark thought as a child.
Champion cinema.
But as for merch and stuff, I mean, we played the NES game. That video will be going up shortly.
Jamie.
It was a funny one. We didn't get very far.
Yeah, I keep thinking that I'm gonna have to like put some time aside and just try and play it, and like maybe just look up a fucking guide because it's one of those classic NES games where it's like, bang, here's the game. Fuck off, figure it out.
Yeah.
So you just like going into the sewers and no idea what we're doing, going into houses. Like the controls themselves are awkward, never mind the game. And
big guys who are just guarding doors who bullets bounce off them and you're like, what do I do?
just nothing on screen, no hints at all. They're just like, fuck off. And most of that is probably because if you knew what you were doing, the game would be like 10 minutes worth of gameplay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it was all like, what am I doing?
I think the highlight of it was you just walked into a fucking apartment and there was a snake on the floor coming after you. And I was like, fuck me. Even in a Dirty Harry game, they were like, bang a fucking snake in there, double quick.
Yep, it's always the way, man. Snakes, bats, spiders. They're just, it was like always go-to Halloween creatures in video games.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if one of the bosses is just a giant scorpion.
Yeah, probably. They're like, Scorpio's the killer. We could use that.
Yeah, it kind of works thematically. But there was a cancelled game that was going to be on like PS3 360 in the late 2000s, which there's still an early trailer of like on YouTube you can find. And that's a shame. Like I would have fucking banged around on a Dirty Harry game. That would have been fun.
Yeah. I think, Grand Theft Auto and stuff always has like a massive place in pop culture and stuff, but they still haven't really like properly done justice to a game where you're playing as a police officer.
No, exactly, yeah.
And to make it like fun, so you're not just all like, game over, you did not follow procedure.
Yeah,
they could get around that by making it like kind of a Dirty Harry-esque game where you are just shooting bad guys and stuff.
Because I've always said, like, why the fuck isn't one? Because they do multi characters now in GTA games. Why can't one of them be a cop and you can kind of skirt that line of being a good cop or a bad cop? And apparently, reading up that Dirty Harry game, that's what they were going to do with it. You were going to have a meter, like a Paragon meter, like in Mass Effect and stuff. If you did bad things or good things,
yeah.
So it would have been interesting.
Yeah, I suppose in some ways it's a shame, but in other ways it's like, would it truly have been that fulfilling? I think during that era,
probably not.
No,
but, it would have been a kind of a good curiosity, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like now we're at that point where potentially somebody could do a game like that did the franchise.
Yeah.
So, like that RoboCop game that's come out.
Uh-huh.
Like if that game had come out 10, 15 years ago, as they tried a few times with RoboCop, they were kind of always a bit hokey and shitty.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're at that point where the Unreal Engine and more than ever, people can cobble these games together that are like really cool on slightly lower budgets. So well, somebody needs to get on that and make a Dirty Harry game.
Yeah, it's a shame as well because like reading up on it, like Clint was going to voice it all himself and stuff as well.
God.
Yeah, like in the trailer, it's just it's clips from the movies because it's like an early trailer. But yeah, apparently he was signed on to do all his own voice acting and shit as well.
I suppose it's like a really cool way for him to like continue the legacy without have the fact that he's aged and stuff. And, you don't have to address anything like that. You can just literally have it be a direct sequel.
Do you remember the rumors when Gran Torino was being shot and there was rumors going around that it was actually a new Dirty Harry movie?
Yeah.
Which is just mad because like it just shows how far things have come. That was only like 2009.
Yeah.
And like no one could find that out. That would be leaked on Twitter in 2 seconds now.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, immediately. Yeah.
But for months it was like, apparently it's called Gran Torino because the killer drives a Gran Torino car and all this stuff, and it's about Harry coming out of retirement. And I was all excited, and then kind of disappointed when I heard it wasn't. But I love Gran Torino.
Yeah, it stands on its own feet, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. But what about figures and stuff like that? There was a Dirty Harry figure not so long ago from Sideshow.
Yeah. Actually, they released 2 figures. So they released one because he has 2 very iconic looks. Looks. It's a very simple look that he has in the movie, but iconic all the same. Like with the little red like tank top jumper thing that he's got on under the grey suit. So they released that figure, and then they released an alternate version of the figure where he's wearing the outfit basically from the end at the quarry. Yeah. With the more muted colours and stuff. But he's I think what's really cool is Eastwood was he essentially signed off. I think the gimmick of the figure is that it's signature series type. He's giving it the thumbs up directly and stuff. But it is a great head sculpt. It looks bang on like him and stuff. And I think Sideshow have reused the kind of like the good sculpt in like quite a few of the figures now as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So doing like Man with No Name and stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll get on with it, but like William Money and stuff as well. The only reason, because I love figures and I no doubt would have bought it. My only reservation was Sideshow have like a terrible track record for like announcing figures, and they look amazing, but when they come out they're just like shit. So it's like a tough one with Sideshow, like sinking £250 on a figure that could well be shite when it comes out.
They are quite pricey.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had, from memory, a McFarlane figure or anything like smaller scale.
No,
which is kind of a shame.
So. Yeah.
But I think Dirty Harry's very much a household name.
Oh yeah.
The character and stuff. I think everybody kind of, even if they might not be familiar with the movie or anything, they're certainly familiar with the character and things and the line.
Yeah, with a guy with a big gun, someone will be like, "Oh, he thinks he's Dirty Harry," or that type of. It's that kind of like, it's that iconic. You don't even have to have seen the movie to reference it, type of thing.
With his flipping hippie haircut that he's got in this movie.
I love that. He does have some lovely hair in this movie, I must say. But yeah, when he's made it start, like, when are you going to get a haircut? And I'm like, yeah, his hair's long.
Just back then, everyone was like, get a fucking short back and sides haircut, you hippie.
Yeah. Once again, like, another thing that pops up a lot in Lethal Weapon, the haircut gags. Like, get a haircut, hippie.
Yeah.
He brings.
Yeah, totally. It's he definitely took notes. Like,
of course he did. Yeah.
Well, we may as well we'll cover art as well at the same time, because there is a few little bits. So there's quite a nice Greg Rennell. I'm butchering these names. Rennell? Greg Rennell. I'm going to say Greg Rennell.
Okay.
Really nice use of colours and stuff.
That is nice.
Yeah, just like the Scorpio's like crazy face on the box. He does.
Is that the moment where he gets stabbed? Oh no, he's got the ski mask on that bit.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's like kind of taking both of them.
Yeah,
because actually we didn't talk about that, but that's that bit.
Hellish noise that he makes.
Yeah, and he's like, ooh, like a crazy howl. Proper channels his inner demon.
Yeah.
There's a James Ream Davies print as well. That's really nice, very 70s-esque. Lots of white and yellow and stuff.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I quite like that. I like the Ollie Moss one, which is really, like, normally I'm not like a big fan of, because I like kind of traditional art more. But I like how Clint's face is like there in the gun and stuff.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah.
A nice use of shape and colour and stuff.
Yeah, it's a nice minimalist poster. That.
Yeah. And then lastly, Ivan Quinette as well. Sorry. I think I really like his style.
Yeah.
Really
We've talked about his stuff a few times over the past couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah. So nice to see like some love for Eastwood movies.
Yeah, definitely.
In the print community.
And the only other thing I was going to mention, and these aren't necessarily to do with the first movie, it's more like in the early 80s, there was a bunch of Dirty Harry like spin-off novels. Not like movie novelizations. They were just new stories written about from 81 and 83. I think it was about 8 or 9 of them. And I bet they're quite rare and collectible now. Most stuff like that is. There's a bunch of Friday the 13th books as well. The novelizations, like, they go for quite a pretty penny, so I can imagine they would as well.
Yeah, I could imagine, like, why not? You could write all sorts with this character, couldn't you? Really?
Yeah.
Comics and books and stuff. Yeah. What about Blu-ray? Though actually, we should probably comment on the Blu-ray. I'm just thinking we're talking about it before we start recording.
Oh yeah. So as you were saying before we start the show, that there is weirdly, like, Warner Brothers missed the 50th anniversary to do 4K in 2021, which seems bizarre because there's a lot of films that haven't missed they didn't miss the 50th event of the Dragon a couple of years last year. So I wonder what all that's about. Like you were saying, it's apparently there is a 4K master done. They just haven't released it.
Yeah, like they're waiting for some big box set, something or something. But it's such a shame. It's definitely a movie that I think deserves a nice clean-up job and stuff. But I just think it just deserves a nice, golden 50 years sort of release, bang on some special features. And
it's just a weird film to miss the anniversary of. It's such an iconic film for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, the Blu-ray, I've just got the old Blu-ray box set with all the movies in, and You know, it's fine.
Yeah,
picture quality's great, and there's a few extras on like the first. I think on most discs, but you know, mainly on Dirty Harry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and like I said, it's $12.99.
Yeah, you can get it quite cheap now. Yeah, it's worth it for like 5 movies. So.
Yeah, crazy value.
Champion Cinema.
So, shifting to a slightly different genre, Western movies. Unforgiven came out in 1992 with a run-out time of 2 hours 10 minutes, although I had 2 hours 11 minutes when I checked my run time. So,
bastards.
IMDb being wrong.
Yeah.
The movie that finally saw Clint Eastwood win the Academy Award for
certainly did.
Best Picture and Best Director, because of course he directed the movie, starring Clint Eastwood as William Money, the incredible Gene Hackman as Little Bill Daggett, Morgan Freeman as Ned Logan, Richard Harris as English Bob, James Woolvett as the Schofield Kid, Saul Rubinek as W.W. Beauchamp, I think it is. And Francis Fisher as Strawberry Alice, and Anna Levine as Delilah Fitzgerald. So, what's the movie about?
Reclusive and reformed outlaw William Money is offered a job to kill some ranchers who brutally attacked a woman. Along with a young upstart and his old partner, they find themselves at odds with brutal Sheriff Little Bill Daggett, who was determined to stop the bounty from being claimed. So, you broke your streak. It's the first time you ever watched this.
Yeah, long time coming. Yeah. I don't know what it is about. I think I can never be arsed with, and I say it with air quotes, modern cowboy movies. Yeah. Because, of course, it's not modern at this point.
Yeah, it's fairly young as well.
But I think it probably stems from my childhood and just watching so many, 60s Westerns.
Yeah.
It's, late 60s, early 70s Westerns. And I always kind of can't make peace with, brutal and harsh Westerns, I guess.
Well, that's what I was going to get to first, because I was going to say every time I watch this movie, I always just think John Wayne would have hated this movie. Because I know he had a problem with High Plains Drifter. Apparently, he wrote Eastwood a letter, explaining why he didn't like the movie.
Bloody hell.
Because he just doesn't like the idea of, what they call, a revisionist Western. Westerns that get rid of all the fucking fantasy of the Old West. It's of good guy sheriffs and bad guy Indians and all that type of stuff. It was just basically making a Western how it probably was.
Yeah, because I certainly don't have a problem with the concept, because there's no doubt in my mind it was a terrible time.
Yeah.
Certainly a terrible time to be any sort of non-white person. Or if you're not a male, basically white male, and you had a bit of money behind you, you're all right. But anybody else, Jesus, you're in for a rough ride in America in the 1800s and whatnot.
It's a shame though, because I'm not a John Wayne fan, but I would have actually liked to have seen John Wayne in a film like this at some point. I think it would have been interesting.
Yeah. Ironically, I suppose the closest to get is True Grit. Really, in terms of it having a bit more it's not a fun time being a cowboy and stuff.
No.
But you're right.
But this was written by David Webb Peoples, who wrote Blade Runner. And it was originally written in the 70s. And Eastwood first read it in the early 80s, but he was quoted as saying, I'd already done a bunch of Westerns. I want to do some other things first, which, look at his filmography, I forgot. The only Western he did in the 80s was Pale Rider in 85. So he did take, and a good choice, because he probably also thought, well, it would work better if I'm older.
Yeah,
and
which it does.
It wouldn't have worked as well if he made it in 1980, 81 or something.
No.
It works much better with old grizzled Clint as the main character.
Yeah, I think it was a right choice to just put it on the back burner and come back to it, and he's a bit more seasoned and stuff. Yeah. Because, it's got such a great... I love it, firstly. Really enjoyed the movie.
Oh, good.
I think it's really, really good. And it surprised us, to be honest, because like I said, going into it, I was kind of I don't know, fucking cowboys and stuff.
Come on, man. You're dad age now. You should be loving these kind of movies.
But I really enjoyed it. I liked I like the dynamics of the three characters working together. I loved the Ned character. Well, I loved William and Ned being the older guys and stuff. Yeah. But then the kid being Schofield Kid, and he's all full of shit and stuff.
What I was going to say, what do you think of his performance? Because it's an interesting one, because I think he's good, and I don't know if it's just because I've seen it a couple of times, but I always think he overdoes the tough gunslinger act to where it seems obvious straight away that he's full of shit. But maybe that's the point.
Yeah. I think that maybe they're going for like there's no doubt in the audience's mind as well as Eastwood's.
Because if you look at like this was only, I think it was his first theatrical movie. Done some TV, but like he's the least experienced of a lot of them. And like fuck me, what an experience that must have been for him. It's like sharing his screen time with Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, and then Hackman and stuff as well. And and even the English Bob, Richard Harris and stuff as well.
It's got a hell of a cast.
Yeah. Crazy. I think he does well in the role. I think it takes you to a kind of a place that I think he's the full stop on. Like, this wasn't a good life.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? When he like shoots the guy and it's like immediately apparent that that's going to haunt him for the rest of his life, probably. Yeah,
that's his highlight in the movie. His final scene when he's like still trying to act tough, but he's basically fighting back tears at the same time whilst just necking a bottle of whiskey. It's a really good moment.
Yeah.
But speaking of English Bob, did you read the story that Eastwood rang him to offer it to him while he was watching High Plains Drifter and he thought it was a prank?
I did see that he got offered it while he was over. I didn't say he thought it was a prank.
Yeah, I think he said he thought someone was winding him up at first. Yeah, like, fuck off.
Doing an Eastwood voice and that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not Eastwood, fuck's sake.
And he just says,
oh
shit, yeah, it is. I can hear you squinting over the phone, Glenn. I'm sorry.
That's kind of mad though.
Yeah, I love his character though. Richard Harris is really good in the movie. Like the scene with him and like the standoff with him and like Little Bill in the middle of the town is so good. Yeah,
really brutal again. It's because he's just so confident, and he's the guy's like he's come to get the job done. But Hackman is just having none of his shit.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. He shoots him down.
I love all the setup of history that they don't really... You get from the way they're talking, they know each other, but they don't overly explain it. You just know they've got some history and they really don't like each other very much. Yeah.
I kind of like that. I guess it kind of hints that... Well, it definitely hints, not kind of, but that, you know, the English Bob's full of shit as well. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
But then I kind of like the little hint at the end when he's on the back of the wagon and his accent like slips.
Oh yeah,
he's no longer like a gentleman.
No.
He's just like, I don't know, is it like a hint of Cockney or something in his accent or something?
Yeah.
It's kind of like cool.
He drops the distinguished English gunfighter act. He's just, you're all fucking stupid.
Yeah, so just enough. It's not like over the top. Because at first I was thinking like I wouldn't. I think as the scene was playing out in my brain, I think it was processing like, is he going to have an American accent or something?
Yeah.
Like the whole, even him being English was a lie. But it's kind of cool that they give him just enough of a twinge to his accent that you're like, he is actually quite rough and not a gent.
I also love just how like intentionally unimaginative his nickname is, just English Bob.
Straight to the point.
That was the level of patter they were at in the Old West. It's just, he's English and his name's Robert, he's English Bob. I
think it's really good. It's a double bill, him and Saul Rubinek as well.
I love Saul Rubinek. Yeah. He's one of my favourite character actors.
Like, again, Star Trek, man.
Oh yeah, he's in Star Trek as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in The Next Generation. He plays a character called Kivas Fejo.
God, Star Trek. There's the link. This show, apart from Clint, Star Trek double bill.
And again, an amazing character actor. He smashes that episode out the park. Really, really good villain. But yeah, I love him in Frasier and stuff. He's got a great energy about him.
Yeah. My favourite role of his is the movie producer in True Romance, because apparently he's just based on Joel Silver. But yeah, let's get, before we get Eastwood and stuff and Morgan Freeman, let's talk about Hackman, who was the highlight of the movie, I would say.
Yeah, he's got like he's a very interesting character. I think there's like an undertone of intensity. Like you never know how he's going to play it. It's interesting. I've seen a few synopses where it kind of describes Hackman as being a corrupt sheriff. And I think that's interesting because in some ways, I think you've always told me that Hackman was like kind of a bastard in the film. And
Well, he is, yeah, but he's not. I guess I was going to say he's not. He's not. I wouldn't consider him the villain or anything because there's no good or bad guys in the movie.
And I
really.
think that's the bit that surprises. I was expecting like Hackman to like I don't know, fucking stab an infant at some point or something. But
you're like spit dog. I just won an Oscar.
But I think in some ways, I mean, very much in some ways, Eastwood's the villain, really.
Oh,
because he's the murdering psychopath, and from Hackman's perspective, he's trying to keep his town as lawful as he can.
He is,
and there's prostitutes prostitutes had their face slashed, and he's resolved the conflict in the best way he sees fit. And now there's people coming to the town to like murder people, and he's like, no, not in my town.
Yeah.
And then, the whole Ned thing and stuff. Well, in his eyes, he's just killed one of the assassins that were trying to fuck his town. So in many ways, he's not the villain at all, really. But having said that, I just think without him ever really showing it, you just get the sense that like if you fucked with
he's a psychopath.
That character, he would. It's such a great bit where the tense as fuck bit where he has this the bit with Saul Rubinek when he asks him to pick up the gun and stuff.
Oh, that's such a good scene, yeah.
And you just think like, what's he gonna do? Is he just gonna shoot? Like, is he gonna shoot Beauchamp for no reason at all? Basically,
yeah. I love that moment where he's just like, "What if I give it to him?" And he's like, "Give it to him." You're like, "Fuck."
He just wants to kill him.
Just the way his voice drops like a couple octaves, and you're like, "Oh shit." And then just English Bob's reaction when he finds out it was loaded. He's like, "Oh God."
Yeah, just dropping the bullets and stuff. Yeah, it's such a great scene.
Yeah, that's like one of the top scenes in the film, I think. Yeah.
I love when Rubinek asks him, like, what if the other guy's faster? And then he's like, and Hackman's like, well, he shoots you. he'll kill you. He says, then he'll kill you. And he chuckles, like a little chuckle. So it's just, I don't know, a really grizzled guy that's kind of seen it all and stuff.
Yeah, he's a charismatic bastard, as I like to think of him as. That's what he is. Like, he's weirdly likable, but like you said, he's got a really dark, violent side if he needs to bring it out.
Yeah.
Like, probably the coldest line in the film that's like really sinister is when he's whipping Morgan Freeman, and then he tells them to go get the prostitutes from the saloon. Yeah. And he says, like, if their lies ain't the same as your lies, I'm going to hurt you, not gentle like before. You're like, oh, fuck. such a cruel line.
Yeah. Yeah,
and Morgan Freeman just sells the fear on his face perfectly as well.
It's surprising that they kind of don't show the death. Well, they don't show the death, but they don't linger on it or anything.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. I guess it's a sign of a higher class movie that they're not just showing the violence. It's implied there and stuff.
And then the way they reveal it's so good because obviously Eastwood's character is a former absolute horrible outlaw murdering bastard who's married someone and he's cleaned his act up, he stopped drinking, he's like seems himself more noble now, and then throughout the whole film there's like, Ned's trying to get him to have a drink of whiskey and all this stuff, and then as soon as he finds out Ned's dead, he just takes that drink out the bowl. And you're like, oh shit. So I know what's gonna happen now.
He's like Popeye eating his spinach.
He is. He's powering up, yeah. Because again, it's not done in a way where like it obviously focuses on him drinking, but there's no music cue, rise, or anything. It's just like very matter of fact, but obvious as to what's gonna happen. It's such a nice movie.
Yeah, I like similar to Dirty Harry in some ways. Like, never drop the N-word. They never like lean on any racial stereotypes or anything. And again, I think they could have. Cheap Heat, they could have had Hackman being like you N-word and stuff. Yeah. They could have gone there, but they don't. No, they just don't acknowledge Morgan Freeman's race at all, which I think is kind of nice. And like I said, it could have just been a low-hanging fruit.
It could have, could have if Tarantino had directed it. You know what I mean?
Every other word, would have been the N-word.
Yeah,
but it's that whole bit's great, really. When once he swigs the whiskey and stuff.
'Cause I mean that finale, it's like you do get classic Eastwood, but it's like not your usual Eastwood. It's like nasty, pissed off Eastwood, which you don't really see that much. I mean, you see him be like angry and like getting vengeance, but this is just very cold and matter of fact. And
it really caught us off guard. I was shocked, but I also had like a massive smile on my face.
Yeah, because it is cool at the same time.
Yeah, when he goes into the barn, it's just the whole thing. Like, I think the line will just proper stick in my head for like many years when he he says like, "Who owns this shithole?" And then the guy's like, "Oh, it's me," and he starts rambling about how he bought it and stuff.
And he just blows him away.
It just blows him away. And then Hackman's like, "Well, sir, you're a cowardly son of a bitch. You shot an unarmed man." And then just his comeback, Eastwood's comeback. Well, he should have armed himself.
Yeah.
If he's going to decorate the saloon with my friend.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's like
That's a
fucking
awesome.
chef's kiss of a line.
Yeah,
that
it is, isn't it? Yeah. And of course, the classic stuff like any man doesn't want to get shot, but head on out the back and everyone just leaves.
Yeah, they're like, fuck. Not that loyal to the sheriff. Because, that's another great thing. They're all there planning what they're going to do.
And he just walks in.
He's just there
on
with
his
a gun.
own.
Just cocks the gun, and they're like, they're just all head turn, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I guess at that point, they know who he is as well. So it's kind of like, I guess the reality of like, oh my God, this guy who's famed for like killing people, and he's just fucking walked back into the saloon like on his own.
Yeah. There's a lot of good dialogue in like that scene, but like in particular, like the bit where spoilers. It's 30 years old. What am I doing? When he finally kills Hackman, and he's like, "I don't deserve this," and he's just like, "Deserve's got nothing to do with this." It's very cold final thing to say to someone,
and just shoots him like point blank. And then the great line, "I'll see you in hell," and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, definitely."
Yeah.
Obviously, some of the lines are kind of slightly ruined for me because of Geordie Star
Wars. I know.
With the whole like, I've just about killed everything that walks and crawled at some point or whatever.
Yeah, which I've mentioned it before, but if it's your first time listening, there was a fan edit went around years ago of like called Geordie Star Wars. But all of Yoda's lines were basically just lines Clint Eastwood has in this movie dubbed over. So it was just Yoda dying, talking about how he'd killed everything and walked and crawled at one time or another.
It's just strange. I've heard those lines so many times. They're like stood out.
Well, that's what I was kind of worried about. I was worried you wouldn't be able to fully enjoy the story because you'd just be laughing every time you heard a line from Geordie Star Wars.
No, I managed to at least, in context, absorb the lines.
Because the one I always forget about is when he shouts, "Will you get him a drink of water, for Christ's sake?" When Yoda just randomly shouts that. But yeah, the way he leaves the town as well, he literally leaves like he's death himself. I'll come back and kill all you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then the lightning strikes and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah, like the one guy that's like daring himself to take a shot. And then he's like, nah.
Yeah, I don't want to risk missing him.
Yeah. It's a great film. It's just got very like many facets. I love all the quiet bits and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I love the exchange that he has with it is the Delilah character, isn't it? The one that gets her face slashed up.
Yeah.
The just little exchange about his wife and stuff and how he doesn't want to in advance.
Oh yeah, that's a really sweet moment.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder how all these films line up. Like, so like she was in this, True Romance, both as prostitutes right after, and then The Crow right after that is like a down and out drug addict.
Yeah,
kind of loose woman. I was like, that was just her fucking role for 3 years.
I was gonna say I think that was kind of her shtick, wasn't it? Really?
It was, yeah. But at least when you look at a filmography, all those three films are right after each of them. Like, Jesus, you got typecast in a certain way for a few years, which is really good in the movie, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like good. It's no doubt that shit happened as well. Let's face it. Like, oh my God!
Like all this is just because, like, literally, the plot hangs on her giggling at a guy's small penis.
Yeah, and she gets fucking cut up for it and stuff.
Yeah. I also like as well. Forgot to mention how the story gets progressively more graphic the more it went around the area.
Yeah.
Like it's just a face she got cut up, and then it's like they cut her breasts off, and then a downstairs area that gets brought into it later as well. It's like Jesus.
Yeah, cut her ears off and things.
I think even cut her fingers off.
I think even Eastwood does it. Like
he does.
Yeah, so he gets told the story by the Schofield kid, but when he like repeats it to Ned, he's added something extra onto it as well.
Yeah.
That's just like, I guess that's literally what happens.
Like they'll be expecting to get there and just find someone like the guy from the One video, just no arms.
And they're like, oh, actually, you're not that bad, really.
Not too bad. Right,
a few lines on your face.
Also, like as well, the film is bookended with just a simple text crawl about the wife that died.
Yeah,
which is a nice way to start and end the movie. Then then William Money just disappeared.
Kind of makes feel very like poetic in some ways. Yeah, like it's based on a classic book or something. I
Yeah,
don't know,
it does
has
feel like that.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the film obviously looks gorgeous as well.
Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah, I think that it uses like without even looking at the trivia, I can assume it uses like a lot of natural light.
It does feel
You
like
know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've never like overly lit it or anything. There's
Especially the final scene in the bar. That all looks like natural light.
Yeah,
to me. Like
yeah.
'cause it's quite dim, but it's nice.
yeah,
Nice,
yeah. You can see what's going on, but it's not like super hard shadows or anything either. It's really
Yeah.
really nice. So yeah, no wonder it won like mad Oscars and stuff. And
But yeah, following year it would get 9 nominations in total. It went on to win Best Picture, Best Director, Best Editing, and Best Supporting Actor for Gene Hackman.
I did see some not to like take it like an anti-Eastwood place, but I did see some quite interesting stories about. Firstly, his comment years earlier where he was talking about how he'll never win an Oscar, and I think one of the main reasons he said was because he's not Jewish and stuff, which is like, come on, Clint, calm yourself down. Also, like I think during the Oscars, Frances Fisher was pregnant as well with his child, but like he'd kind of like made her like keep it quiet and stuff because he didn't want it overshadowing like his award run and stuff, which I think is a bit grim. And apparently, like on the footage, she goes to like hug him and he pulls away or something, because he didn't.
What, the
want
actress that plays Strawberry Alice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She didn't like. He didn't want it in the news that like they'd slept together, basically making the film. And yeah, so it's a bit like, and I've always heard stuff about like Eastwood's got like 20 babies and stuff. Or whatever.
Yeah, he was quite a shagger back in the day.
I think he's got like 7 confirmed kids, but
Yeah.
there's like allegedly, I should say, of course. But like, there's always been a lot of rumors that he's got like illegitimate children out there.
Just sounds like a fucking soldier's record. The man's got 7 confirmed kids.
So yeah, he's a slight deviant as well. I'll say.
Oh, he was a big shagger ladies man, philanderer back in the day.
So yeah. Like I said, I don't want to dwell too much on the negativity, but that caught my eye, and I thought,
Oh, yeah.
I'm always disappointed when people are like, I don't. Maybe it was a quippy joke. Maybe I'm taken out of context, but I just thought,
Yeah, I mean, you know, he seems like one of those guys that would like just be very blunt.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. If there's one thing I get from Eastwood, it's definitely bluntness.
Yeah, he would not be tactful with his critiques. Like,
Yeah.
like not long ago, he was calling he referred to this generation as the pussy generation. Which I just thought was funny.
Sitting on his porch.
Yeah, because I just thought of him as fucking Walt in Gran Torino. Damn pussies. I always found it odd as well that obviously Metallica have a song called The Unforgiven, but it was released the year prior, and it was musically inspired partly by the Leone movies, and it was just funny that Eastwood released a movie next year called Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Very straight. None of them have anything to do with each other. It's just a weird coincidence.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, just all kind of came together. Because it's an interesting title, I guess. It doesn't really tip its hat too much about what the movie is, really. It kind of does, but it kind of doesn't. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting going into the film, really, based on the title.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you didn't know much about it, though.
Yeah, because I think I did see some names like banded around in the trivia somewhere, but I'm pretty sure they were literally like the prostitute whose face was slashed or something.
Oh, yeah, the early title, the Cut-Hole Killers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I do like the title, The William Money Killings. I think that's a good title.
Yeah.
Champion Cinema.
Artwork.
Yeah, so obviously there's a metric ton. Interestingly, you know, just before we started recording, I talked about there isn't a wide range of official cinema posters and things.
No.
I think uniformly people just stuck with Clint Eastwood silhouetted, like his back with him like looking over his shoulder. Because even like the Japanese poster and the international posters, they all just kind of stuck with that.
Yeah, they were saying a couple of weeks ago, it was around the 90s where like you started seeing, if you look, you start seeing less of those like unique posters in foreign countries. It's just like, here's the poster, put your country's title on it. Type of thing.
Yeah. So it's very much like one of those movies. But then on the flip side of it, there's a shit ton of alternative movie art as well. So it's obviously struck a chord with a lot of artists and stuff. Because it is a very visual film, obviously.
Yeah.
So just run through them alphabetically. There's Adam Rabalis, who's done like a landscape sort of print with a big title in the artwork.
Oh yeah, with him outside the saloon.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I like
That's
the
very
colours
nice.
and stuff. Very like westerny feeling. A lot of browns. Oh god, just remembered the guy's name. The next
Oh
person's
yeah,
name.
I can say it. Yeah, good luck.
Bill S.
I'll give it a crack. Bill Sienkiewicz.
Sankiewicz. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, I'm not very good.
Sorry, Bill. We're just fucking dumb. We don't know how to pronounce names. We aren't fucking Smith.
Just from the northeast. But yeah, really nice. Again, just like oily art, sort of. I love moody art like that, where it's got a kind of craziness
Yeah,
about it.
that reminds us of like the Pale Rider poster. Kind of has a it's more like muted in single color, but it has a similar vibe to it. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Casey Callender, they did like a nice red one with just Eastwood's face and the
from
rifle.
From the end, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, really cool. Gabs, I like the artwork that Gabs has done, where it kind of captures one of many favourite moments in the movie, where Eastwood's obviously caught like a really bad version of the flu or whatever it is, and he's all hunched up with his coat on. But then just the quotations on the poster behind him and stuff.
Yeah.
They're talking about it's a hell of a thing to kill a man and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's an awesome piece of dialogue.
Yeah,
So.
like just shows that like even in the artwork, some of the film's lines are so quotable that it's just like, oh, get it on the art.
Yeah.
I'll just write the words. George Townley did a really nice one. Just for like again, I'm just gonna open it, remind myself, because another one thing we didn't really talk about, I guess, is the amazing set. There's a big whiskey. That was all like built really quickly, apparently.
Really?
It was all like specially built for the movie. But looks really good. Again, just atypical Western town, really, in it.
Oh yeah.
The hotel, the saloon, the bank, and stuff. All the classics. Done this. Oscar Martinez as well. And that's like a really nice kind of traditional piece of art, but with all the characters' faces and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that with the 1992. They said I think that must be the same place that they do like a year theme, don't they? And they get artists to pick any movie they want to do a poster for.
Yeah, I guess is it an A&P poster or whatever?
Yeah, I'm
Looking
not
at the
sure. Because I
logo.
remember Cherry Sheriff 92 did Hard Boiled. That was a really nice poster. So yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah,
poster,
really cool. And then once again we've got Ivan Quinette as well. It's done another really nice, really classy. I could see that being like a cover of like a Blu-ray or something as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, really nice. So yeah, lots of really nice art for that movie anyway, which is nice to see.
And then, of course, like you were saying, Sideshow are going to bring out a William Money figure at some point. I don't know when. Does it have a date yet, or has it just been announced?
Well, yeah, it's a difficult one with 1-6 figures. They kind of come out when they want to. But I think roughly about like the fourth quarter of this year, basically, they're coming out. And I could be tempted, like, I could be, given that the track record's been good with the Dirty Harry figures and stuff. And I already have like a Rooster Coburn figure and stuff, so maybe I should have an Eastwood figure. Or some sort.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, a grizzled Eastwood.
Yeah, as for like, a 4K, there was one in 2017, and it's pretty much just, the film in 4K, and I think all the extras on it, like the commentary by Eastwood biographer, a 70-minute documentary called Eastwood on Eastwood, like, and a few featurettes about the making of, and an episode of Maverick that Clint Eastwood was in back in the day called Duel at Sundown. Yeah, I think that's all on the DVD and the Blu-ray, so it's kind of just 4K transfer, but all the extras. So,
yeah, I think I'll probably chuck this on my wish list and pick it up at some point. The 4K.
Oh, I imagine it looks stunning on 4K. Yeah,
because I did really enjoy it, and I think it's a film that'll stick with us for a while. I'll keep thinking about the lines and stuff, and
yeah, definitely.
And I just I really love all the moral ambiguity this film has. Like you said, no one's truly really the bad guy, the good guy. Really,
no,
just a bunch of shitty people in a shitty situation being shitty to each other, basically.
Champion Cinema.
I was thinking for next week, seeing as though this show lines up with one of our video game playthroughs, the only one left is the final option starring Steven Seagal. So, would you like to do a Seagal show next week?
I suppose we should. We need to do some piss takery as well, don't we? So.
Well, I was going to say we'll choose two good ones because I'm not sitting through Driven to Assassinate, or whatever the fuck his last 10 movies were called. So I was thinking, Out for Justice, obviously.
Yeah.
And his biggest one, at least like, big breakout, Under Siege.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it, and it gives us a chance to talk about Busey hocking in the soup.
True. It's been a long time since I've seen Under Siege, yeah.
And the booby scene in the cake and stuff.
Classic.
Been a while since I've seen that. That'll bring back some childhood memories.
Seagal making grenades out of tins of beans or something.
Yeah,
from
tins of
memory.
beans and a fucking Johnny or something, I don't know.
Yeah, and we should we'll do it in celebration of him getting like the fucking Russian Medal of Awesomeness or whatever he recently got from Putin.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that was.
But yeah, I'd be up for that.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to watch Out for Justice again because, goddamn classic, that movie, with or without Seagal.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, folks, until next time, you can catch us at Champion Cinema Pod on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that jazz, on YouTube. We'll be having the video of us briefly playing through the Dirty Harry game on the NES just after the show goes up, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, until then, I will see you down the pit.
Yeah, see you on the heap.
Bye.
Champion Cinema.